Every early stage founder has to deal with the delicate balance between how much money you take in versus how much ownership you give up. No founder wants to give up more of the company they've built than they have to. And why should they? Owning more of the company you built is always better, unless owning more means you give up the opportunity to have sufficient financial resources to get you to the promised land. Over and over again, we see early stage founders who often ironically have almost none of their own money invested, expressing reticence about raising sufficient funding. Sometimes the reticence will take the form of this amount of money will enable us to achieve our near-term objectives, or this amount of money will enable us to get to a Series A at a much higher valuation. Understanding the reticence to take on sufficient funding is absolutely key for both folks in our business, venture capital, as well as the founders. This reticence typically stems from two sources. Either the founder's attachment to some mythical ownership percentage, even if getting that ownership percentage interferes with them taking on sufficient funding to realize their vision and get to the promised land. The other source, equally common, is when founders have not been down the road before and don't understand how much it costs to build a team, to have the resources to scale their company. For VCs, it also is a wonderful opportunity to understand just how coachable your founders are. Do they embrace different points of view? Did they lean in and acknowledge, hey, I haven't been down the road before. I don't know what it costs to build a team that can execute and scale. Or do they resist that? And as a VC, if you see a founder who resists coaching, even if they have not been down the road before, I would urge you to run the other way fast. That's the surest sign of a founder and a team that's going to be reinventing the wheel, which always costs more and takes way more time. And founders, I would ask yourself these three questions. First, have you ever scaled a company before? And if you haven't, why would you think you know what it takes and what it costs to do that? To build a team, to have the resources, to go national, to go global. Second, you need to show that you can go from building a great product or service to actually scaling it, to making your company grow month after month after month, nationally, internationally. And doing that almost always takes a different type of employee than you probably have on staff right now. You need folks who have been there, done that, walked through the door with a toolkit and a playbook that have been proven over time. That costs money. Have you budgeted for that? And very often we hear founders say, when we get to our Series A, we'll have the money to hire heavy hitters. Be forewarned, it's 10 times easier to do a great Series A when you can point to a team that's played in the major leagues and you can point to month-on-month growth. That excites investors, it excites potential investors, and it will make your next round way easier. And finally, have you internalized the 3 laws of nature that apply to startups? Number 1, it always takes longer than you plan, and that costs money. Number 2, it always costs more money than you expect, and that costs money. And number 3, maybe most important, shit happens. And when shit happens, it invariably costs more money. Remember, your job as the founder is to make sure that no matter what, your venture has sufficient resources to take you to the promised land and to realize your vision. Your other job is to hire people that will enable you to do that. And one final thought, I don't believe I or any of my partners have ever heard an early stage founder utter the words, I wish I had raised less money. Good luck out there.